Who got a hot box? Gizelle got a hot box. Who got a hot box? Gizelle got a hot box. Hey. So let me tell you, Karen came ready with guns blazing, okay? Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Joy from Sound Mind. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are not new, you may know that I have another channel, She Speaks To. On that channel, I'm a Liberian American YouTuber. So on that channel, I talk about all things Liberia. And even if you're not Liberian, you may want to learn more about how people live in another country. I will put that link in the description box. That channel is my respectable channel. And on this channel, I talk about anything I want to talk about. So today we're going to be reviewing Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 1. Before we get started, let me give you the typical Liberian greeting. Hadu. Hadu. Okay, so the episode starts with, and I'm looking at my notes, the episode starts with Wendy doing some kind of silhouette. It looks like the silhouette challenge, but she's really sending out invitations for her nude interlude, and her husband Eddie is doing that. Wendy is looking good. Her body looks good. We'll get into that later. Then we have Gizelle in her House of Horrors. Gizelle has the worst style on this show. Her decorations in her house just looks, it just reminds me of like a rich person who is not really rich, because that house just looks like something that anyone could own. I'm sorry. And it probably cost a lot of money, but it's just not as glamorous as I would have expected. And like I said, it's a House of Horrors. The decorations are just kind of hodgepodge. No judgment. No judgment after all that judgment. Then we have Robin. They're building a house, her and Don Juan. Then we have Candace. Candace sold her mama's townhome, took the money, and then bought her $1 million home. Now that's how you do it. That house looks really, really good. I'm really proud of Candace. You know, I like Candace, so. Then we go to Ashley. Ashley is very pregnant. Ashley is my least favorite person on the show, and that is because she is in everyone's business. But then when it came to Michael and all those allegations, she wanted people to respect her marriage. So she's my least favorite person. She can dish it out, but she can't take it. She looks very pretty though, pregnant. What I did notice is she had that... I've had 2 babies, so she had that nose that kind of swells at the end, and you always sound so congested. You sound like you have a cold. So she had that, but she looked very pretty. And even if she's my least favorite, she still looked pretty. Then the baby Dean was running around. He's looking more like her now, so thank God. Thank God he's looking more like his mama. And then Michael comes home. Ashley says that she is 5 months. No, she has not had sex with her husband since she was 5 months pregnant. Now, the Michael that I know, he's in those streets. The Michael that I know, he's in those streets. So she was telling him, now we have open communication, and I think we should just discuss any problems we have. Michael was putting something together, and he was like, yeah, sure. Michael is in these streets, and so there's just one stripper or prostitute away from a scandal when it comes to Michael, unless he's paying them really good this time. So Michael is in those streets. That's just my opinion, okay? So we go to Candace's house. Gizelle is visiting her, looking like Liberace. Gizelle, there's something always off with her fashions. It could be a jumpsuit, something perfect, and then she'll mess it up with shoes. There's just something, it's like I feel like she's trying, but she just needs somebody to make her more age appropriate, not dress her like a grandma because she still looks good, but just make her more age appropriate. So she visits Candace. Candace has her bonus kids there. The little girl is beautiful, but she's kind of mute. You know, she doesn't say much. She doesn't talk. Probably having all these cameras around her would make anybody shy if they're not used to it. So they sit down and they start talking about Karen. Well, Gizelle, said through shades that Candace has moved on up. And I'm like, yeah, she has, it's not a House of Horrors. And so they start talking about Karen, and Gizelle's upset because Karen talked about her fake relationship with Jamal, and how on the reunion show, how he had a baby on the way. And so she feels like Karen owes her an apology. And as much as Gizelle talks about everyone, she should be the last person asking for an apology. So Candace is also upset because it seemed like Karen straddled the fence when it came to her and Monique. She would tell Candace, if it was me, I would press charges. Then she would tell Monique, like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. So Candace is very upset because she felt like she couldn't trust Karen. So they're both talking about Karen. And then they cut to Karen and Mr. Ray. So Karen's sitting with Mr. Ray. They're talking about their 25th wedding anniversary. And she's going to find her old dress and give it to her daughter, Raven. Like, cut a piece of it so Raven can sew it in her dress. And they show a picture of Raven, who has basically grown up on the show. She was a teenager when the show first started. She is gorgeous. Gorgeous chocolate skin. She's beautiful. She has a mixture of Ray and Karen. So then they flash back to young Karen. And let me tell you, Karen was hot. And Karen now is also the most improved. Her wigs are looking good. I remember when she first started, the hairline was back here. Wigs are looking good. She's still trying to wear these onesies and stuff. Still. But Karen is looking really good. So her and Ray talk, and they talk about GIZELLE. Karen says the same sentiment. GIZELLE says, we are not friends. She's always thrown shade. And they showed them 5 years before where they were like really good friends, laughing. But somehow with this show, the shade has gotten more toxic on both ends. But I really felt like it started with GIZELLE first. Has gotten toxic. So Karen is saying that I don't think she's my friend either. So they both feel the same way. So anyway, so they cut to Wendy. Everyone's getting Wendy's invite, and they're like, oh, everyone's just looking. Wendy looks good. Wendy goes to the doctor with her husband. She's had her breasts done. I think they're a little bit too big for her frame, and maybe they will drop because it seems like these are fairly new. Maybe they will drop and look more natural, but right now they look very pushed up, very high. They look like breast implants. Not to say that she doesn't look good with clothes on. They're a little bit too big for me. And the doctor also touched her stomach and said, the swelling will go down here. So I think Wendy had a lot of stuff done, more than just the breast, but I think that she's only comfortable admitting the breast. And in her confessional, I don't know if she got a new makeup artist, because I feel like whoever was doing her makeup the last season did not know how to do dark skin, or I don't know, but her makeup look in the confessional is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. But sometimes, and that's my African sister, so I like Wendy. I think she's smart. I think she's beautiful, but sometimes she would just look really oily to me, like really fashion fair oily. So if you know what fashion fair is. So they cut to Robin and Don Juan. Robin is still not getting married. She doesn't know when. She said there's been a pandemic. There's been this. Her and Don Juan go to like a juice spot, and he's telling her how she sleeps in all the time. She doesn't get her day started until 2. And she's like, there's no motivation. There's a pandemic. She's homeschooling, and there's no reason for her to get up earlier. And it's been kind of difficult for her. So I kind of feel Robin, the days kind of merge into the other days. Everyone that stayed home during the pandemic kind of knows what that feels like. But then another part of me is she unmotivated? Is she depressed? Because sometimes sleeping is, a sign of just kind of hiding away from your problems, not wanting to get your day started, not looking forward to your life. So is that what the reason is? And then they start talking about the fact that Don Juan wants girls, like not one girl, but girls, and Robin is 41, and he was like, I can't, I hate when men dangle this carrot in front of women about like a wedding ring or a marriage or even children. He's like, I can't even consider having a girl with you until you get it together. And it's like she's going through a state. Well, apparently he had a successful season in the basketball coaching, but she's going through a different stage. She's probably the one doing all the homeschooling, taking care of everything with the kids. And on this show, not as far as being married to Don Juan, but as far as her being a mom and a real person, I feel like Robin is the most relatable person on the show. That she's the most average, if I could say that word, not average or basic in looks, but the one that we can relate to the most, who has more of a normal life than the other women. So feel like she's more relatable. I feel like a lot of us stayed home, homeschooled kids, and had to, you know, days fell into other days where we're like, why do we even have to wake up early? So I can relate to that, but I hope it's not like a sign of depression or she's unhappy with her life, because if he wanted to marry her, they've already been married before. They can just go to the courthouse and then they can always have a big celebration later. So I hope he's not dangling this in front of her. So Candace and Chris with the Candace bonus kids and Chris's biological children. The little girl is basically mute. They're asking her about her math homework. She's beautiful, but she's mute. So her brother helps out. Not much in this scene. It was just like a fluff scene. They just added that in there to have more time to get to the drama. So now we're getting to the place that everybody wants to talk about. So the ladies start showing up. Gizelle shows up in a pleather jumpsuit. Once again, not what I would want her to wear. I just didn't like it. Robin is there. Robin is on time, which if you watch the show in past seasons, Robin is never on time. Then we have Ashley showing up. Ashley's feet she comes in boots. She wants to put on her high heels because, you know, she still wants to be sexy. Her feet are swollen. You can see where the boots had cut off her circulation. It's not going to work. So she's not going to, I don't even know if she put her shoes back on or was just walking around barefoot. Then Karen shows up with a new girl. The new girl was asking Karen, so it's okay with Wendy that I come? And Karen was like, oh yeah, she was fine with it. And they cut back to Karen and Wendy having lunch. And Karen telling her she was bringing Mia, and Wendy was like, you know, Wendy did not look okay with it, but she just accepted it. She has to because that's a new cast member. So during the lunch, Karen and Wendy attempted to hash out their differences. Karen was telling her, you know, I can appreciate us sitting down and talking. And Wendy said, well, yeah, we're just from different times. You know, alluding to how old Karen is. That's shade. So what else happened? So they come in, you know, Gizelle looks at Mia up and down because, you know, Gizelle does not like anyone new. She does not like anyone younger. She does not like anyone that could be perceived as prettier. And Mia, I don't know if pretty would be the word I would use on her. She looks like a woman who is well put together and has had a lot of work done. And I would think for someone who's doing all these things to her face that she would take care of her skin. Her skin did not look good on camera. So that's kind of weird that you would have Botox fillers, this, that, blah, 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 but your cheeks did not look good. And I'm not one to skin shame because I have a history of, you know, having to take care of my skin and doing things. But I just noticed that. It's like priorities. Your skin comes first. That's your presentation. Anyway, so Mia cannot do math. She says her husband is 38 years older than her. So Wendy has come downstairs and they start talking and they talk about Mia. Mia said her husband is 38 years older than her. And Wendy was like, wait, how old are you? Because that would mean that if he's 60, that you were 30. And I'm thinking Wendy's like, you're not 30. So she's like, I'm 36. Well, that would make him 32 years older than you. So if you think that you've been married to this man to have a 12-year-old, so maybe you've been married 12 years at least, you would know how much older he is. So Wendy was like, poor man. So anyway, now Wendy reveals what the party is about. She goes, you know, when I lost myself, I had children. She goes into this long monologue and Gizelle was like, come on, Wendy. Wendy goes and finally reveals that she's had her breast done. And the ladies were like, oh, congratulations. And what else have you had done? Did you get some stuff done? And Robin was like, I think she got her booty done because she did not have one before. And they cut, Bravo is shady. They cut and show Wendy from the last season and she didn't have a booty. She's an African woman and they do exist. There are African women that don't have butts. It's possible, it exists, it was shown. But now she does have a butt and it looks very good. Now the butt I really like. So they get to the dinner part and Mia asks Wendy, she said, well, what else have you had done? And Wendy said, my breasts. And she said, well, Wendy says, well, what have you had done? Because you look like you've had a lot of stuff done. And so Mia was like, yeah, I've had this, that, my breasts, my booty, even, you know, my privates. And everybody's like, man, we just met you, Mia. We don't need to know that. She's like, yeah, after 3 children, you know, we needed to tighten it up. And so Wendy was like, well, that's good for you. This is all I've had done in a few tweaks. We all know I feel like she had her stomach done and she had her booty done. So how did it start? Gizelle said, well, me and Karen, well, first of all, Gizelle this whole time has been expecting Karen to go to her and apologize, something that she has never done. When Karen was going broke with Ray, she made fun of it. She hounded that woman, hounded her, and Robin thought it was so cute. They delivered a fake pizza just to see where Karen lived, as if it was their business. So what makes you think that Karen cannot talk about your fake relationship with Jamal? And that's what I'm calling it, a fake relationship. Talking about the pandemic has separated us. Even your kids knew it was a fake relationship. Last season, they were like, we've never seen y'all together. All of a sudden now we have to film scenes as a family. So even your kids were uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable kids, because they recognized that this is not a true relationship. So anyway, Gizelle said, well, me and Karen will not be friends. Gizelle said something to the fact of, everybody knows I can't stand Karen. And then she starts talking about drunk Karen, cheating Karen, broke Karen. But Karen came ready. Gizelle came to the fight with a knife. Karen came with guns. Karen said, with your fiery box, your fiery hot box. And Gizelle was stunned, and she talked about Ray's ding dong that doesn't work. Karen said, don't talk about my husband. Don't disrespect my husband, which Karen now, if you're going to talk about her fiery box, I think she can talk about your husband. Then Karen says, you broken whore from Hampton University. I said, a broken whore from Hampton University? That's a tongue twister. How Karen came with those reads. She said from Sing Sing. Everybody was like, what's Sing Sing? What's Sing Sing? I think Sing Sing is a prison in another country. I don't know what that even means. But Gizelle, you could tell. I said, well, if Gizelle has a hot box, how does Karen know? And what does hot box mean? Does that mean it has an STD? Does that mean it's just been used a lot? Gizelle says in her confessional she has a WAP, but we all know that having a WAP and using a WAP could lead to a hot box that is fiery. So we need to know, we have questions. What does this mean, and how does Karen know? Who told Karen? How hot is this box, and what makes it fiery? So we have questions. We need to know. This is Joy from Sound Mind. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Like I said, I have another channel. She speaks to. Learn more about Liberia, and I'll put that link in the description box. I will see you next week. We will find out, and I will put the definition of a hot box in the next video once we get down to what that means. I will see you later. Thank you.